Hey, good morning, everybody. How you doing here? Lincoln Park, Chicago. We got December the 11th, 2025. We got Christmas lights here at Lakeview and Fullerton. There's the Mies van der Rohe building, 2400 Lakeview. Yeah, see, this is what I was worried about on yesterday when we got that rain overnight. You see how they're walking fine, and I can walk fine on this because it's very slippery, this undulating. See the snow that people trampled in, it freezes back in the ice. You know, we got above 40, then we got below, we were right at 32 degrees and it was snowing, and then it got colder overnight. Now we're in the 20s. I think we're, let me check. I didn't even check the temperature here. Hold on. I think we're in the, hey, there's a little light snow falling, which is amazing. I don't even know why I'm attempting to head to the lakefront. It looks like we got cloud cover, so we probably will not see the sunrise, but I'm going to still head to the lakefront. We got a little flurries here. This just started when I left. It wasn't snowing. It's just, and I don't think there's not expected to be snow today. It's just little flurries here. So hey, if you want to join me, we'll head to work here. This is Chicago. We're in Lincoln Park, and I'm going to head downtown. This is my walk to work. We're going to walk 3.5 miles along the lakefront. We'll walk past North Avenue Beach, Oak Street Beach, and then we'll go down Michigan Avenue. We've been walking up Michigan Avenue at night to check out the holiday lights. That's what we did yesterday. But hey, thanks for tuning in. How's everybody doing? Hope you're having a good morning. And people running for the bus here. 6:36 in the a.m. Yeah, I was gonna check the temperature here. Let me whip out my other phone here. Hold on one second. There. Let's see what the forecast is gonna be for today. Oh, we're 18 degrees. We're below 20, 18. The sun's supposed to rise at 7:08. But I'm seeing clouds by the lake, so unless there's a gap in the clouds, I'm not very hopeful we're gonna see the sunrise. Right, like, you know, we'll see it behind the clouds maybe. It looks like it's going to get up to 27 degrees today. And here's the 143. You can catch the 143 goes express. The 134. We'll wait till this bus passes. We'll go behind it here. So you see, this is the bus. Sometimes when it's raining, or I take the bus to go downtown. This is the bus I take. Well, I take the 143, or the 134. This is the 143. The 143 goes express to Michigan. Gets off Lakeshore Drive at Michigan Avenue, but the 134 goes all the way to Wacker, you know, which is closer to where I work. So here's, yeah, Lincoln Park. We're by the North Pond here. Hey, XRT fan, how you doing there? Crime Vault, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be cold for the entire day. Welcome to winter. We got a nice early start to winter here in Chicago. December's been very snowy and cold so far, so we'll take it. And hey, you know, just jump in and embrace it. We saw people sled riding. People have already cleared off hockey courts, rinks, and the ponds there. The colder it gets, it'll freeze over, and then we can use our ponds for winter sports, which is nice here in Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. How's everybody doing? Yeah, let's head to work here. Sanjay, how you doing there? Camelot. Yeah, Crime Vault. XRT fan, Blink stay forever. Hello, good morning. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, people probably aren't expecting to be on this early. I'm surprised I woke up. It's early. 6:38 in the a.m. I call those the Twin Towers of the short residential buildings there. There's the Peggy Notabart Nature Museum. Yeah, this is my commute to work. We saw some lights there, but Bell and Stratford's decorated nice. Yeah, thanks for shooting me in the back there. There's the, not me, baby, is joking about someone shooting me in the back. Yeah, thanks a lot. Is that your intention? Thanks a lot. Wow, look at the nice people that tune into the chat. I'm just walking to work, and they're saying someone's going to shoot me in the back. Thanks a lot. We'll remember you. What a fair weather friend. You talk to all your Yeah, I know we're not friends. I'm sure you don't follow me. That's fine. You think I'm scared of a troll? I've been living in Chicago for 27 years before the age of live streaming. You know, people try to create all this fear and stuff. The crime was much worse in the 90s. I still walked around then. You know, I survived this long. Maybe you could put me out of my misery. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Everybody has a death wish. It's a psychiatrist and psychiatrists talk about it. I think from a psychology perspective, I think a lot of us after the pandemic, we survived our death wish there, and now we wish death on everyone else. I try not to do it because I was lamenting we lost Drew Drzezinski, and it was a horrible. I think it was a head injury. He dived into a pool. I remember we walked with him on May Day. And so live every day like your last, because it could. And by people making comments like that, it reinforces, yeah, all coyotes. Well, it's not a coyote in Palmisano Park. And I know it's McGuinn, where the ball fields are, but then they expanded it. Realized that may be a contentious issue. They probably, you know, between the Irish in Bridgeport and the Italians historically in Taylor Street, Little Italy in Chicago. I don't know if there's still some bad beef there or not, but yeah, he saw a coyote, you know, sitting on the ice there in the pond in Stearns Quarry, the Palmisano Park. Did you see that? Well, that same person earlier, I didn't realize, and Tom, what's his name, the big vlogger there from Chicago, the Grateful Dead guy, great guy. He reposted it too. They saw a coyote on the street, and I assume Bridgeport. It was on the snowy sidewalk just in the middle of the night. 2 coyotes were just walking down the sidewalk. Steve Lyon, please follow Steve Lyon. Steve Lyon, a Chicago live stream. He's great. Steve Lyon, I think a lot of you already follow him. He saw a coyote, and it's one of his most popular reposts, right on Balboa, Grant Park, downtown Chicago. The coyotes are in Bridgeport. The coyotes are in downtown Chicago. We see coyotes up here by North Avenue, or north of North Avenue, by the North Pond, the South Pond. There's beavers that were living in the South Pond. Wildlife finds a way to adapt to living in the city. Isn't that amazing? I'm not saying it's a good thing. It might be a bad thing that coyotes are in Bridgeport, but it's not the coyotes. I know somebody's going to make a flippant comment about coyotes from Mexico, a different type, the mules that are like what they're blowing up in the Venezuela there, but that's a different type of coyote. Hey, thanks for tuning in here. Welcome to Chicago. We're going to head to work here. Yeah, what's up? How you doing there? Let's see if Not Me, B-Bay, talks about me getting shot in the back again. I know that might not have been to your attention. I missed your rebuttal. I know people try to joke about, you know, I just hope one day they feel bad if I go the way of the dodo. They'll be like, see, we knew he wasn't gonna last. We knew he had a death wish. Here, let's see, let's cross Fullerton at Cannon Drive here. Fullerton, Cannon Drive, Lincoln Park, Chicago. How's everybody doing here? See if the car, how you doing? See, look, I'm running so the car can go faster. See, look, watch the car will peel out now. Yeah, show me how much I detained you there. Hey, the snow. Hey, well, thanks for checking out the snow. Yeah, we got tons of snow. So, hey, you can stay warm where you're at. You're in a nice area there, and thanks for tuning in to snowy Chicago here. Yeah, we'll head to the lakefront. I have no idea if there's going to be waves. I secretly hoped that there was going to be a nice sunrise this morning, but unless there's a gap in the clouds on the Michigan side, which is highly doubtful. Usually there's the Michigan mountains. We do have cloud cover here, so we'll just show you skyline views. And when was that? Tuesday we attempted to see the sunrise, but it was the same situation. And then the sun did eventually burn through the clouds, but it was already risen, so we didn't get that nice dramatic horizon shot. Lake Michigan here, but hey, yeah, we'll head to work. It's easy for me once I get to the lakefront. I don't have to worry about cars, conflicts with cars crossing streets or slippery. I'm afraid the sidewalks on Cleveland and wells will be really slippery this morning because the rain and then the snow and then the thawing out. There was a layer of water over everything last night, and then it refroze overnight, so it might be slippery on the sidewalks. Be careful if you're out there. I'll let you know what it looks like once we get to Michigan Avenue. That's where we're heading. There's a piece of broken glass on the, I'm gonna kick it to the side so somebody doesn't step on it. There's somebody from the road threw a 40 bottle and it broke here. So there is some garbage. The streets are so clean. Sometimes you step on broken glass. Usually happens when I go to New Orleans too. Watch this van. Yeah, we'll let this van go. Good. India, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in there. Sawan Ganju. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's a little cold. Manchester. Thanks for tuning in there from Manchester, UK. That's great. 55, Christy. Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, Chicago, Illinois there. Thanks, Grandma's Corner. Thanks for being on. Appreciate it. Every ditty. Is that a thing? Is that a meme now? Yeah. But here's, we're underneath DeSable Lakeshore Drive here. Chicago, Illinois at Fullerton. Here's the nice mural. We'll head over to Lakefront. Let's see if the lake's starting to freeze over. Yeah, it's too early for that. Usually, if it stays cold through January and February, there might be the first chance in several years that it's cold enough start to the winter where eventually, if it stays cold through January and February, if we get a polar vortex or something, polar vortex, the Lake Michigan might freeze over, at least near the shore here. And it looks interesting when that happens because I always expect it looks like Hudson Bay. I always expect like a polar bear to come across Lake Michigan. Maybe one day, Steve Lyon will discover a polar bear on Balboa and Grant Park. Yeah, Parkway Gardens. Hey, listen to this. Nothing more's Jay. I have several videos of Parkway Gardens. We've gone to O-Block several times. Listen to this. TikTok is now censoring my O-Block videos. They're not eligible for recommendation. I don't know if this has happened to other people. I need to talk to Jody GTV. He has great videos on O-Block as well. And he knows the drill hip hop artists better than I do. We filmed the King Von mural. But TikTok is censoring my Parkway Garden videos, which is funny. And they don't want to monetize it. You know, think of that. You go to O-Block, you film a video, it gets 100,000 views, and you're like, wow, I can make money off this video. And TikTok's like, nope, we're not going to pay you. But they're selling advertising off of it. You know, hey, there's the skyline of Chicago. Here it is. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. Every single day, I've been doing this for 3 years. Every single day I get a request to go to Parkway Gardens. We'll get probably 20 requests today to go to Parkway Gardens. And I've gone there, and when I go there, hardly anybody tunes in. And people won't watch the reruns. So it's just, I know it's just a taunt. It's more like a shout out to King Von, Chief Keef, and Chief Keef's still with us, but Odie Perry's not, of course. And here. This is interesting. It looks like there's some lake effect snow out on the lake. There's looking towards Michigan. This is Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. Looks like it's really slick there, so we'll stay up in the grass here. And we're by Fullerton. That's looking north towards the Versey Harbor mouth. Do you see that? To me, that looks like lake effect snow out over the lake here. The camera might flip around. Hey, that's me. I'm Brian Willie Chicago. How you doing? Lately, when I've been zooming in, the camera flips around when it gets cold because the screen can't tell what I'm trying to do. That looks like lake effect snow to me, or it looks like the Aurora Borealis. Yeah, look, the snow's all melted. So this is at Fullerton. This is December the 11th, 2025. So we had about 6 inches of snow on the ground as early as 2 days ago, and we got rain overnight from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning yesterday, and look what it did to the snow. Now we're forecast to get more snow on Saturday. It's supposed to get really cold over the weekend and snow again. So hopefully we'll get another batch to cover this back up here. Yeah, a little bit of Chicago. Thanks for tuning in there, LCJ. Yeah, it was cold when it snows. It's gonna be cold this weekend. We'll give you a full report there. But hey, beautiful Lake Michigan, people walking the dogs. Just we might see there's a little waves. There might be just like 6-inch to 1-foot waves. We'll go by North Avenue Beach. So if you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're by Lake Michigan. There's the skyline of Chicago. We're about 2 miles north of the John Hancock. We're about 3.5 miles north of the Sears Tower, Willis Tower. And we're walking to work. This is my commute to work. I live on the north side. That's why I'm always up here. We'll get requests to go all over the city, all the suburbs. People request I go to even other cities. And I appreciate that because there's already people streaming in those other cities. You can watch people streaming on the west side, south side, downtown, north side right now. You can find people streaming in the Chicago suburbs. You just got to find, there's so many people streaming right now, and I appreciate you watching my channel here. So thanks for tuning in. Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We got 6:51 in the AM. 18 degrees. Hey, it's a balmy 18 degrees. Yeah, get out there and enjoy it. Yeah. Krista, how you doing there? Yeah, it's a beautiful morning. It's a beautiful morning. Yeah. Gailey Hughes, how you doing? So, one love. Yeah, you see it? That's good. See, look, Jake's single there, ladies. Go. You're missing a great opportunity. Jake's letting you know he's available. So, hey, Jake, I wish you the best there. I'm right there with you. I'm single, but I enjoy being single. There's nothing wrong with being single. You can still have human relationships being single. You ever see Seinfeld? See, I made the mistake. You know, I grew up and went to college in the 1990s, and I made the grim mistake. I thought in the future it would be like Seinfeld, where people wouldn't have big families and they would just be single and all these adults. But then the millennials proved me wrong. And it's no. I'm Gen X, so I know millennials and Gen Z cringe when anybody, old people like us, the baby boomers or Gen X, start pontificating about how things have changed. I know we're old fuddy-duddies. I agree. But like my sister and my brother-in-law, they got married young. They bought a house. They lived the American dream. They're millionaires now. They got a big giant house. They bought with like no money down. They kept like buying bigger houses. I got 3 nephews. They're successful. My brother-in-law, very successful in his business. My sister's very successful. She's so successful, she was a vice president of a bank that she could leave that job. She was on the corporate ladder to go up the board of directors. She said, I don't want to work for a bank. And so she's a teacher. They're wealthy enough, they got their house paid off, that she could choose her career, and she chose to give back to the community by being a public teacher in Texas. Isn't that great? And imagine that the stresses she deals with. She knows what's going on with public schools there, and they want her to be principal. She's like, no, I don't want to be principal. I just want to be a teacher. Because it becomes very political once you become a principal. Or think of you join the local school board there, the PTA. Here's so if you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're walking to work here. We're checking out Lake Michigan. Thanks for tuning in. But I lost out. I moved to the city. This is my own. I wouldn't do anything different. I moved to the city. I rent. I don't own. I waste all my money on high rent, and I'm not building any equity. I know don't do what I did. It's the wrong way. But again, it's because I thought I'd be like Seinfeld, have an apartment in the city, and or like Perfect Strangers, just have a small apartment in the city, no car, and this city will eat you up and spit you out. New York will do the same thing. It's very hard sometimes. So I work for an architecture engineering firm. Thanks for asking there. Yeah, that's why I'm heading downtown. I'm very fortunate to have a nice I've worked for various architecture engineering firms over my career, mostly in this downtown Chicago. Cincinnati, I was a development consultant, but that was around 2000, a long time ago when I was already out of college. But here's Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We got 6:55 in the AM. How's everybody doing? Florida public schools, enrollment dropped. Charter schools. Yeah, the charter schools is interesting. I guess, what are they closing? The Department of Education? I know I'm not supposed to talk about politics, but I'm just stating something you've seen in the news, and I don't know how that affects Florida, and I don't know how it affects Illinois. We're in Illinois, but hey, thanks for letting us know what's going on in Florida. I appreciate people tuning in from all areas of the country, and we can learn from each other. It's good. Or learn what's going on in different areas. Washington is flooding. Washington D.C. or Washington State? I need to look into that. Is there flooding in Washington State or Washington D.C.? I should be aware of this. I need to check it out here. Hey, bonjour. Thanks for tuning in from France. Thanks, Kaylee, for the sub. Thanks for subscribing here to YouTube here. Yeah, I'm on TikTok and YouTube. I got 97,000 on TikTok. Hey, thanks to everybody. We passed 16,000 on YouTube. I really appreciate that. We literally doubled our subscriber count in the matter of 6 months here, which it just because I switched from live streaming on TikTok to live streaming almost exclusively on YouTube. So I appreciate that. But we still post reruns on TikTok. Every once in a while I go live on TikTok when off hours. We went live for a few hours on TikTok on Sunday. We went up to the Christ Kindle Market at Wrigley Field there and watched some of the Bears game on the big screen there against Green Bay. Tough loss. Nebraska. Hey, that work trip. Hey, thanks, Nate. Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, Christy's tuning in there. Wes. Yeah, Samuel Jones. Prince. Pete's tuning in from Hazlet, Michigan. Yeah, we warmed up. Now it's cooled down again. It only lasted for a few hours. Hey, we'll see. Yeah, it looks like there's snow out over the lake. I don't think we're going to see the sunrise. The sunrise is supposed to, unless we might just see the sun in that little gap, and then it'll go up behind the clouds. That'll be interesting if we see like a really red, pale sun trying to burn through the atmosphere at the horizon. But usually the atmosphere is so thick you can't see it. Chattanooga, how you doing there? San Antonio, yeah. Patsy. Yeah, the white ice. We got all kinds of ice. This is really snow, but yeah, this is kind of ice here along the sandbags, that erosion control bags here. Yeah, thanks Grandma's Corner for posting that there. So Navy Pier, you see this? Okay, I'm probably going to flip the screen here, but you see that Ferris wheel? That's Navy Pier. Navy Pier is about 2 miles south of us, 2.5 miles south of us. And we're up by North Avenue Beach, so we're north of Navy Pier. We're north of the Central Business District of Chicago. I'm walking to work. I live in Lincoln Park up by Fullerton, so that's where we started, in the park. We're heading down here. Thanks for tuning in. People constantly come in and out of the comment scrolls, so people always ask where it is. Even though I entitled this Chicago Streetwalking, and my name is Brian Willie Chicago, that information's not disseminated well. Through. Hey, is anybody on Substack? Would anybody recommend Substack? I'm thinking of, you see, 2 years ago I thought like Blue Sky would be like I'm looking for something to tie my YouTube videos with my TikTok, like a third-party app. And I looked into Ghost, I looked into Substack. I know there's WordPress, and there's also there's another one that competes with Substack. Now, Substack has problems, but some things Substack does well. And Substack's attempting to lure TikTok and YouTube video content creators like me, because a lot of people were worried about where their content was going to go when TikTok, if or when TikTok ever goes away. And I have the same dilemma. I have a lot of content on TikTok, as you guys know. Does anybody use Substack or would recommend it, or is there pitfalls, there's negatives of Substack you would say don't use it? Yeah, I'm Dana White. How you doing? It's 18 degrees in Chicago. Connor, so Substack's okay? Yeah, I mean, we'll give it a try. I think there's like 50 million people on Substack. It's TikTok and YouTube orders of magnitude larger with their users are in the what, billions, you know, hundreds of millions. But you use Substack? Hey, Gene. Okay, I'll try it out. Yeah, some people think I sound like Tom Hanks. I always say I'm Bob Hanks. I'm Tom Hanks' brother. It could be worse. You know, I'll be fine if people think I'm Tom Hanks. It's got a nice folksy voice there. I could be a character animator for Pixar. I could be like a Woody or something. Yeah, be like a funny voice. I could do like a character voice for some animated character. Like Robin Williams. Your favorite bloggers are on Substack. Gene, well, thanks for the good info. That's why I'm looking into Substack. So I'm trying to keep it as, I'm not trying to spread myself over too many platforms. Right now I concentrate, I live stream on YouTube. We produce most of our live streaming content on YouTube. I produce a lot of reruns on TikTok because we still got an audience there. There's some people that don't like YouTube. There's some people on YouTube that don't like TikTok. Substack, I can put both. I can put videos from YouTube and TikTok into my Substack, and then I can do my microblogging or my, I do write. I can do some articles about the Melungeons or something, you know, and we'll give it a try. Or just stuff going on in Chicago. We can be like the urban paparazzi, just showing new developments in Chicago, architecture, parks, cultural events, things affecting the city, crime, homelessness, greed, avarice, all the wonderful stuff, corruption. We'll cover it all. So hey, let's head to the icy shores of Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We got 7:02. The sun's supposed to rise in a few minutes, but I doubt we'll see it. Unless maybe the sun will go through these clouds by the time we get to Oak Street Beach. It might be interesting. We'll see what happens. You never know. This is live. And we got 7:02 in the AM, Chicago, Illinois. We got 18 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that? -10 Celsius. To tell people I'm walking in -10 degree weather, but don't tell them it's Celsius. Here's skyline Chicago. 60 degrees in San Diego. That's great. Yeah, I would love to do some live streaming in San Diego. We'll see if we can get over there some winter. That would be great. Greece is tuning in there. England, yeah. Freeze-dried bananas. Yeah. It's easy to monetize off of Substack. Yeah, I think they take 10%, which to me, that doesn't sound too bad. You know why? Sometimes TikTok would take up to 70% of my earnings. TikTok, but they made it better now, but they made it harder. They upped the price. I just don't like that TikTok is spending so much money buying back their own stock when it's not even publicly listed. It's a private equity company and they're buying back their own stock. That's just cheating. I mean, come on, how greedy can you be? Pay your creators. I'm a creator on TikTok. I would create more on TikTok if you would just pay me just a little bit more. Instead of like 50%, take a 30% cut. Come on, how greedy can you be, TikTok? You know, but hey, thanks for watching on YouTube. Here's the shores of Lake Michigan. Never underestimate the greed of Wall Street. Gordon Gekko. But yeah, the sand, it's trying to freeze here. We got liquid water, Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We're at North Avenue Beach, 18 degrees, 7:04 in the AM. Thanks for tuning in. We're heading towards that skyline. We'll stick along the shore all the way to Oak Street. Hey, we'll hang out with the seagulls here. The seagulls are okay. Los Angeles, that's good. Yeah, you're up early in LA there. Yeah, 5:03, 2 hours. You're in the Pacific time zone. We're in the Central time zone. Here's somebody lost their sunglasses. And the reason I slid down, I went to Holt, and there's that wet sand is frozen. So let me get off the wet, frozen sand there. I saw those sunglasses, and I was going to stoop down to film them, and I almost slipped, but I caught myself. There's the seagull. No harm done. But here, it might be slippery on the sidewalks. All this stuff refroze overnight and it's all bumpy. The bumpy frozen sidewalks. Now this is a joke, and I don't mean to, you know, every day I deal with people heckling me in the comments, so please take this in good fun and good nature. I did not repost this, but I'm sure you might have seen it. There's a funny viral video going around in Chicago where there's residential streets. I don't know what side of the city it's on, if it's on the north side, south side, west side, but it's just, it looks like a typical Chicago block where they said everybody shoveled the snow on this street except for one house, and it showed the whole block. Everybody shoveled their sidewalk, and the one house that wasn't shoveled, they were flying a Trump flag, and that was just a joke. And maybe that was an elderly person, like no one helped them out. And I think that was the point of the video, that no one else on the street shoveled their sidewalk because they were flying a Trump flag. Now that's in Chicago. I'm sure you could go where my dad lives. If someone was flying a Biden flag or some other, Black Lives Matter flag, they a different place, they would be the only one not shoveled. I'm not trying to bash Trump supporters. I think it was just funny. It was just a funny video for, that it was just an ironic thing there. So hey, thanks for tuning in here. Welcome to Chicago. We're heading here on North Avenue Beach, and the sun is about to rise, but we're not going to see it because the cloud cover, unless it burns through these clouds. It might rise over through there, but it's going to take a while for it to get up there. So we'll see where it's at by the time we get to Oak Street Beach. Hey, TJ. Yeah, when Mayor Daley, I lived here when Mayor Daley II, Richard M. Daley, he was mayor until, 2011? Yeah, when I moved to Chicago in 1999, Richard M. Daley was mayor. And then it was Rahm Emanuel, and then it was Lori Lightfoot, and then it was Brandon Johnson. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I didn't mind. Richard M. Daley, except I still fault him for the parking meter deal. A lot of Chicagoans do too. He sold off, and it was a short-term thing that temporarily filled like a one-year gap in the pensions, and all that money spent. And now for the next 100 years, Chicago has to pay like some international corporate conglomerate based in the Middle East. All our parking meter profits go to them, and they could raise the rates, and there's nothing we can do about it. So the selling off of American assets, Chicago kind of pioneered that. So I do fault Richard M. Daley for that. But it's hard to be mayor of any big city. I saw they were interviewing Mandami. Every third word he talked about was affordability. And so he's trying to capitalize on the current president struggling to deal with that word, even though he talked about it incessantly before he was re-elected, and now he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. But it's interesting. Or he does, he just wants to blame somebody else, which that's very convenient for any leader, including me. I blame other people for my problems. I'm responsible for my own problems. I need to accept personal responsibility, and I'm trying to do that. So thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Here we are at North Avenue Beach. We got 18 degrees Fahrenheit, about -10 Celsius. We're by the shores of Lake Michigan. I wanted to see the sunrise, but it's not rising. I mean, the sun is rising. It's just we can't see it. It's behind the clouds. And so we'll continue. We'll just focus on the skyline views here. Yeah, see, look. So this is the fourth question I got just today about O-Block. That's great. Every day we get several hundred questions about O-Block. Listen to what I'm saying. So let's talk to this person here. Hagane. TikTok is censoring my O-Block videos. There's several reruns where we went to O-Block. We've live streamed O-Block. I've ridden a bike down there. We've gone to Grand Crossings. We've gone to Woodlawn. We've gone to MLK. I've taken the Green Line. I've live streamed on the Green Line. All these are reruns you can watch. TikTok is censoring my O-Block videos. Now, I can go down there on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. That's part of the reason I'm on YouTube. But I'm not going to go there today because I'm walking to work. I live downtown. I work for an architecture engineering firm. I'm walking from Lincoln Park to downtown. So if you don't want to watch this, change the channel. I'm not going O-Block today. Thanks for you stating your preference. Watch my rerun. Send me a message. I'll send you a rerun. Watch Jody GTV. He's got a wonderful, it's got like 100,000 likes. There's so much content about O-Block on YouTube. You know, we ran into, you know, I run into famous live streamers. We film them from all over the city. You know, Adam, Who They Want, we saw him. I need to learn his dances there. He was doing the new Tickle Man when we saw him. That was his new dance, and he's got the old one, you know, oh baby hurt me there. He's not even just doing it in front of the police. He did it in front of the Amish people. I think that's kind of rude that he did it in front of the Amish people, but that's just my opinion. So it's kind of exploiting Amish people, which, you know, do go through Amtrak there at Union Station. Yeah, Montrose Beach, yeah. Jody GTV films from Montrose Beach a lot. We've gone up there in the summertime to the bird sanctuary and the beautiful skyline views to the harbor there. That's where they did that dinner on Blanc. I had no idea. I forgot the dinner on Blanc happened. I was up there. I'm like, why are these people all showing up? I thought it was a wedding. I said, why is everybody dressed in white? And it was dinner on Blanc. They have it every year, different locations throughout the city. Other cities do it too. Started in France. Did anybody ever participate in that dinner on Blanc? We caught it this year. I got a nice long video that no one's seen about it. A few hundred people have seen it. Hey, your favorite. That's good. PETA. Yeah, Russia, Siberia. Wow, thanks for tuning in from Siberia. See, we're all over the world here. So people tune in from Malta, New Zealand, Fiji, Siberia. Thanks for tuning in to Chicago. Appreciate it. Here's, yeah, that's looking up the North Shore there. Lakeview up to Uptown and Edgewater. We're down by, this is the Castaways. In wintertime, we have 18 degrees. North Avenue Beach, Lake Michigan. Got some nice little waves there. So the sun is rising over there. We can't see it behind the clouds. We'll head down to Oak Street Beach. It looks like there's lake effect snow out in the lake. There you can see the tip of the Sears Tower. That's the tip of the Sears Tower. That's the John Hancock. This is the Gold Coast. We saw some Christmas decorations there last night. Good morning. How you doing? Algeria, how you doing? Naperville, Toronto. Wow. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Uzbekistan. Samarkand. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Uzbekistan. That is great. Central Asia. See, YouTube's great. We got over a billion people from India that can watch potentially YouTube. They can't watch on TikTok. So I feel more connected to the world here, this great planet we all share here. Thanks for tuning in to Chicago, United States of America. We're in the state of Illinois, land of Lincoln. And we got 7:13 in the a.m. We're heading to work here. Thursday, December the 11th, 2025. Negative 10 Celsius. Yeah, Lake Michigan is what we're looking at. The skyline, that's the John Hancock, that big black tower. It's 100 stories tall, 1,100 feet, over 300 meters tall. Built in 1969. There's Navy Piers there. We're up at North Avenue Beach. Thanks for tuning in. Every continent except for Antarctica. I think you're right. Thanks, Wes. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, I think that's great. So there's it looks like a boat. That's the Castaways. It kind of represents when Streeter ran his steamship aground. It was down there, Streeterville. That's why it's called Streeterville. They got a statue to him, Captain Streeterville. I forget what his first name was. I want to say William, but I'm not for sure. Ah, thanks for sharing there. Miles away. Yeah, TikTok's banned in India. I know. I can't believe it's not banned in the United States. Congress can't even enforce their own laws they pass. Isn't that amazing? American Congress passed a law. And that might change after the midterms next year. We'll see. So that's why I'm looking into Substack. We're on YouTube here. I do still post reruns to TikTok. You know, imagine investing years of your life into building up a business on TikTok Shop and TikTok, you know, as a content creator or an influencer, whatever. And you got hundreds of thousands of followers and you spend all this time and effort and they just delete your account. It's gone. You can't get it back. Or the whole platform goes down. They're like, oh, you know. So it's just a shaky business arrangement, you know. There's no like guarantee of reliability. I'm walking to work. This is my commute to work. Now, I don't normally walk by the lake. Where the hell? Roll there. Yeah, we'll put hell in everything. Yeah, hell. Look at these geese are going to hell. Where are these geese going? Where the hell are these geese going? No, yeah. This is hell. This is Chicago. Didn't you realize Chicago's hell? Our president calls it hell. I know I'm not allowed to talk about politics, but everybody else can, including the president. Did you see Speaker Johnson? They asked him, they said, so the president admitted that in 2018, he called all these, third world countries, S-hole countries, S-H-I-T, shit, I said it, there you go. And Speaker Johnson's like, well, I'm not going to comment on that. It says something the president said. You're the Speaker of the House. He goes, oh, okay. And he embellished and he says, well, it's because they don't want to assimilate to our culture. Now we're getting to the key. At least they're speaking the quiet part out loud. The true crime is not assimilating. And that's always been a problem with the melting pot of America, is what are we supposed to assimilate to? The white Anglo-Saxon Protestant ideal, Christian nationalism. Why is this important? Look historically. The Melungeons faced the same issue, the Native Americans, African Americans, even after they were freed after the Civil War. Some people, the way our culture's set up, even if you want to assimilate, it's not easy, and you're going to fault people with language barriers. Yeah, eventually over multiple generations. Even the Melungeons. The Melungeons changed race over multiple generations. The Melungeons started out as Middle Eastern, North African, with Sub-Saharan African from Angola, probably on the western coast of Africa there. No, yeah. And it probably had some Spanish Sephardic DNA back in the 1500s, and they were enslaved by the Spanish after the wars between the Muslims and the Christians over the Iberian Peninsula. They were shipped to Cartagena, and they tried to use them in North America, and they failed. This is from Spain, and they were enslaved, and they got abandoned here. They mixed with indigenous people over multiple generations, and then later intermarried with Cherokees, which came later, and intermarried with British and French and Scottish Indian traders. And then the mixed blood traders assimilated. The more fuller blood Native Americans did not, and that was the divide. And then people had to make a choice in 1830. Do you keep assimilating, or do you stick with the Native American indigenous cultures that are being hunted to extinction literally in the West? It was a true genocide, including like what happened to the buffalo. And so people had to make hard decisions, and sometimes the decision was forced upon them whether they wanted it or not. And it was how the society perceived you at the time. The society perceived that you were assimilated enough to be counted as a U.S. citizen. I'm talking about in the 1830s. And this is the same thing we deal with in Chicago, New York, L.A., areas that are centers for immigrants that go through the cities. Historically, immigrants would go to the country. They would want to get like homestead or something, And this is the story of America. We got to talk about it. Like, what's the point behind all this stuff? That's why people get angry if people don't speak English, because you're supposed to assimilate to the white Anglo-Saxon, Christian, Protestant, dominant cultural heritage of America, which goes back to the British colonial period. And, all cultures deal with this. China deals with it with the Uyghurs. China deals with it with the Uyghurs, who, there's elimination of culture. Tibet, China wants to not recognize the Dalai Lama. See, this is all, it's all related to empires, cultures, colonialism, and it doesn't have to come from Europe. The colonialism can come from Asia. Talk to Japan. Japan tried to have a colonial empire too. And so, thanks for tuning in. We talk about history, culture, politics. I know people don't want me talking about politics. Usually when people tell me to stop talking about politics, they don't like my politics, and I understand that. I don't expect everybody to agree with my politics. I try not to talk about the entire time. I try to take breaks for my own mental sanity. I know I'm missing a bunch of comments here. Thanks to my mods. We're just heading to work here on this Chicago. We're by Lake Michigan. We're on the walking path here. Here's the bike path. And here's the housing in the Gold Coast. We got 7:20 in the a.m. We got 18 degrees, Chicago, Illinois. And I wanted to see the sunrise, but it's behind the clouds there, so we didn't see a sunrise this morning. Maybe tomorrow. But I like my new boots. I got the new boots here. Yeah, D. Michael's tuning in there. Yeah, he's talking about assimilation. That's good. Sears Tower, yeah. So we saw the Sears Tower when we were further away. Now we're too close. Now we're just seeing the John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. That's Jeannie Gang's building there. Here's the, look how there was that little gap there. There was one building that didn't sell, and then they built this building in the 60s. These were built in the 20s. There was that gap, and they just filled in that gap. There's like a little crack. There's like a look. If you look, there's just a little crack. You'll see sky for just a second. There's a little gap. It's hard to see from our perspective here. Yeah, new boots. These boots were made for walking. And that's what I'm gonna do. But I won't walk all over you. You'll probably walk all over me. So this is called the Gold Coast. You can talk to me directly. This is called the Gold Coast. Thanks for tuning in. That's Oak Street Beach. We're heading to Michigan Avenue. I'm walking to work. The reason I'm here, believe it or not, this is my commute to work. I'm walking to work. I work for an architecture and engineering firm. It's usually what I do. Every day I just walk to work. We take different routes. I know I'm always on the north side. Sue me. We got hundreds of videos of the south and west side, both on YouTube and TikTok. It'll never be enough. If I retire, I'll just move to the south and west side and never come to the north side. Make up for all this time I've been wasting on the north side here. Money I've been wasting on the north side. Here's Lakeshore Drive. Yeah, it's a mad world. It's a mad world. Hello, Leonida, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Yeah, it's really icy. I wouldn't walk near the edge there. It looks like a sheet of ice. You'll slip into the lake. And then those ladders are usually covered with ice. I think they melted, but they were really icy earlier this week. Ladders to get out of Lake Michigan. But it looks like there's nice waves here. We'll go to the Icy Beach, B-E-A-C-H. Icy Beach. Kathy's tuning in there. Yeah, so that's what this kind of dissipates the wave energy. You see how Lakeshore Drive's not that far above the level of Lake Michigan. It's only a few feet. Moscow, how you doing there? See who else is tuning in here. Phil's tuning in. No, not much snow today. There was just a little flurries when I started, but I think the snow's supposed to hit this weekend. I think it's supposed to get really cold this weekend, and we're supposed to get another dump of snow. So we were at Fullerton, and the new land they built there was no snow. It completely, the rain melted it off yesterday morning. But there's still some ice. It kind of refroze in certain. There's big piles of snow. There's Navy Pier over that way. But this is this is where Division meets Inner Lakeshore Drive. We're gonna head down to Oak Street Beach, Michigan Avenue. Naya Papaya. This is called Chicago. Welcome to Chicago, United States of America, planet Earth. How you doing, everybody? Yeah, if you like this content, hit the thumbs up there. It helps more people. We're just gonna walk down Michigan Avenue. Last night we did it after dark. We saw the lights. They'll still be lit even though it's early morning, so it's not as dramatic, the views of the Christmas lights. But we're on the Lakefront bike path here, Chicago, Illinois. 18 degrees, and we got 7:24 in the AM Central Time Zone. We'll check out the waves of Oak Street Beach. Jacksonville, Florida there. No, it's not safe. Stay away. Chicago is the most... Every block's like O Block, and every I got mugged 3 times yesterday, so yeah, stay away. I'm surprised I'm still alive. I've lived here for 27 years. No, I know, I'm not trying to gloss over. We get that question literally thousands of times a day. It shows you how much it's in the consciousness of Chicago's an unsafe city, and I can't argue with people because, you know, I see the news. But that doesn't stop me from, you know, driving a car is dangerous. Road rage. Do we have to go through all this? I know, you know, is anything safe? You tell me where to go to be safe. Tell me where I'm completely 100% safe and I'll go there. It's not my basement, you know. Go out in the middle of the woods, you still can get hit by a stray bullet that came from a deer hunter. I mean, come on, you know, weird things do happen. Here, look at that. We got some nice waves. At least we're going to see some nice wave action on Oak Street Beach here in the wintertime. So you can see Navy Pier off in the distance there, Chicago, Illinois. No matter how, if every third word I said Chicago, people would still ask me where I'm at. I understand. Live stream is confusing. Born in Detroit. Yeah, D. Michael. Hey, see, that's the best testimonials here. In his service, lived here for 70 years, no problems. Thanks for the great testimonial. See, people will believe you more than me. I've been saying the same thing, you know. I've been living in this city for 27 years. My experience, you know, it's just as dangerous as New York or New Orleans or St. Louis or LA. It doesn't stop me from going to Los Angeles. It doesn't mean I go to every single part of Los Angeles. You know, be smart about it. People, same as here. People always taught me they want me to go to the most dangerous perceived areas of Chicago and just spend time there. You know, people that live in those communities will be like, why are you down here exploiting our neighborhood? You know, there's probably somebody that's live streaming that lives in that neighborhood, you know. Watch them. They'll give you a better perspective of it than I can. I'm not a native Chicagoan. I grew up in the country. You know, am I the best person to cover Inglewood? I don't think so. But I'll do it. We'll go down there. We'll show the HH. I think Malik the firefighter went to the post office in Inglewood where H.H. Holmes from Devil in the White City had his apartment building, where there was trapdoors, secret walls. He murdered dozens of people. He was a serial killer. Read the book Devil in the White City. It's now a post office. Malik the firefighter. Follow him. He's a great Chicago content creator. He goes all over the city, and he's a firefighter. Come on. And he says, I'm getting weird vibes just standing on the land. He kind of felt like a spirit presence there, you know. And so people are always asking where haunted places are. Well, we need to go down there. Yeah, I can take the green line down there. J City Walking Girl's taken the green line to the end several times. Oh, here we go. I've taken it down to Cottage Grove. We've ridden a bike underneath there. So here we'll check out. If you just joined, we're in Chicago. This is the Gold Coast. This is called Oak Street Beach. This is Lake Michigan. It's 18 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 10 Celsius. We have 7:27 in the a.m. I'm not going to go all the way to the water's edge because that water's trying to freeze and it's slippery. This is not white sand, this is snow. This is a snow on Oak Street Beach. There's the John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. This is the Gold Coast. It's a neighborhood, very expensive. It was expensive before I moved here, don't blame me. See how the sand's kind of frozen into these shapes. Chunks of sand here. Cold and windy in Lake Ontario there. That's good. Shauna's tuning in. That's great. Thanks everybody for tuning in here. Yeah, I think you're probably speaking in hyperbole there. 90% of the comments, people don't like our mayor and they don't like our governor. So, and if you do, that's fine. That's great. I appreciate it. I tell you, I think you're kind of maybe being facetious there. But hey, thanks for the positive vibes. We'll go with it. That's the first. I think you were like the first time that said something positive. We filmed JB Pritzker on the day that President Trump said he was going to arrest him, and he was not arrested. And we watched him film. And it was a chance he could have been arrested that day, and that's why I went to the Federal Plaza and we filmed him. And the Mandami, they interviewed Mandami this morning or yesterday. And Mandami says he's willing to get arrested as well. And so there might be a showdown between the president-elect of New York City over the sanctuary city things. I'm not weighing in either way. I'm just acknowledging what's in the news. This is stuff that's affecting America, whether you like it or care about it or don't care about it or, you know, support one side or the other. We got to talk about this stuff because it affects cities, you know, not just New York, but Chicago and LA and Memphis, New Orleans, and Charlotte, and Portland, and Boston, and Detroit, and everywhere. Hey, there's the dogs. Hey, the dogs are checking out the beach here, yeah. So here, we'll head over to Michigan Avenue. We'll leave the nice shores of Oak Street Beach. We got 7:30 on the dot, Chicago, Illinois. We're at Oak Street Beach, 18 degrees. Thanks for tuning in. There's the John Hancock. We're going to head right down Michigan Avenue. Negative 10 Celsius we have. 7:30 on the dot, yeah. Yeah, they living in the suburbs, that's great. Different strokes for different folks. My sister and brother-in-law like the suburbs. My dad likes the country. I like the city. We're all part of the same family. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Thanks for the love and support there. Communist mindset. Yeah, there you go. You're going to call me a Bolshevik, a communist, socialist. I'm an evil, un-American person. Yeah. Do your worst. Yeah, the same thing happened to the other side. You know, you can call somebody a pedophile enough that the word loses all meaning. Then you call somebody a communist enough where the word loses all meaning, where everything's a communist. Anything you don't like is a communist. Anything you don't like is a pedophile. I know people don't like that word. It just shows you how all these words become pejoratives. And that's fine. Both sides. The left uses it, overuses it too much. The right overuses it too much. You know, and the more you use it, the less effective it is to shock. Because then it just becomes, okay, do your worst. You know, even racial pejoratives, people, they try to reclaim them. They're like, that word has no power over me, you know. That's just your opinion, and I don't expect you to agree with my opinion. Why do you expect me to agree with yours? Like we're going to change anybody's opinion in the comment scroll here. Everybody's locked in. We're all doubled down on whatever side we happen to fall on. Which is, that's welcome to it. When have Americans ever agreed about anything? Look at our history. We've been divided. It's amazing we kept this country together this long. And hopefully it'll continue. So hey, we'll head down. We'll go underneath the pedestrian underpass here at Oak Street Beach. And we'll head down Michigan Avenue. And we'll head to work there. I got to get down to like Lake in Michigan. Yeah, it's Lake Michigan. This is Lake Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. United States of America, planet Earth. We're going to go under DeSable Glacier Drive. And we're going to pop out at Oak Street and Michigan Avenue. I'm heading to work. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm always downtown. I work downtown. Sue me. People are like, stop going downtown. I'm like, well, you're going to pay me not to have a job? You're going to pay me not to have a job? I'll stop going downtown. That's where my employment's at. And I could work from home. That would be more boring, just sitting at home all day, filming my face, talking about the same stuff. Well, I want to show you the city, at least the part of the city I experience commuting to work. And I know it's the touristy, expensive side of the city. Sue me. We got a president that promotes high prices, a luxurious lifestyle. Can everybody be a billionaire? Can we all share in the billionaire lifestyle? Or only some people that are worthy? That somehow the market determines that Larry Ellison's worth 10,000 times more than anybody else. What's so great about Larry Ellison that he's worth so much? You know, Oracle. I think. Oh, does anybody else seeing that? Okay, this Netflix tried to buy. It's trying to do a hostile takeover of Time Warner, right? Or no, Warner Brothers. Netflix tried to buy out Warner Brothers, and then was it Paramount or one of the other movie houses, MGM? I forget which one. There's a bidding war. So stock market speculators sense this, and they bid up the price for the media company. And so if Larry Ellison's on one side of it, they're just going to make Larry Ellison pay more for it. Isn't that fascinating? They're driving up the price of Warner Brothers. So hey, buy some Warner Brothers stock to make Larry Ellison pay more money to buy it out, and then the price will drop, just like what happened when Musk tried to buy. When Musk was successful, he took over Twitter. People bid up the price, and then once he bought it, it's never been worth as much as it was when he bought it. You know, and he's driving. A lot of people left X for Blue Sky, and a lot of people left X for Substack. I think Substack benefited from Twitter becoming X, right? Some other places benefited too. So it's interesting. See, there's a reaction equal. Remember when Rupert Murdoch bought MySpace? People left MySpace in droves and went to Facebook. And Zuckerberg benefited. Mark Zuckerberg benefited from Rupert Murdoch buying MySpace. Isn't that amazing? But Rupert Murdoch absorbed that loss. So this is the United States of America, planet Earth. This is Chicago, Illinois. Have you ever heard of Chicago? Thanks for asking here. We're, you're asking for like legal reasons? Why? I never got asked how much, usually on TikTok, we don't get asked what country we're from, but on YouTube, we get asked it constantly. And I don't know why that is. But hey, thanks for I guess because we got so many, we probably have more people tuning on YouTube from outside the country, which is a good thing. Here we're at Oak Street and Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. We just left Oak Street Beach. You can watch the reruns there. That's a good thing about YouTube. You can watch this whole live rerun on the live. Everyone went to Loyola bus. We lost Sister Jean this year. There's the 900 North Michigan building, Michigan Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. We got 18 degrees, 7:36 in the AM. I'm just heading to work here, so we're just going to head straight down Michigan Avenue for the next 25 minutes. We'll cross the Chicago River eventually, and then I'll head to work here. So thanks for tuning in. Chicago, Illinois, Michigan Avenue, south of Oak Street. Need some coffee? Yeah, we'll go by the giant Starbucks there. You can get some coffee. The first Burger King. I'm not for sure. Does anybody know where the first Burger King is? So Chicago's the headquarters of McDonald's. McDonald's started in Oak Brook. Oak Brook is the suburb of Chicago. Their headquarters for years, decades, was in Oak Brook, but they recently, in the past 10 years or so, they moved it to West Loop of Chicago. So the Fortune 500 corporate headquarters of McDonald's for the whole United States is, I don't know about the world, is in the West Loop of Chicago. It's where the Harpo Studios used to be. It's where Oprah used to have her studio for her show, but they tore that building down. And that building was used after the Eastman disaster. They said it was haunted, but they tore it completely down. McDonald's built a new, like 10-story building there. And that's where Hamburger University is. And they got a McDonald's, where you can get McDonald's fare from all over the world there. It's more expensive than other McDonald's, but it's for the novelty, I guess. Was it in Des Plaines? Okay, so you're probably right. Probably the first McDonald's was in Des Plaines. It was in the okay. Let's the first McDonald's was in a Chicago suburbs, either Des Plaines or Oak Brook. Fact check me on this. I'm pretty sure the original corporate headquarters was in Oak Brook. I'm not for sure if the first McDonald's, it might have been in Des Plaines. Thanks for pointing that out. But now it's in Chicago. That's my only point. So I was talking about more about the headquarters than the actual first McDonald's. The one with the arches there. Now, you can watch that. There's a documentary about Burger King where they bought out that other hamburger joint in LA and rebranded it. I think that has something. Or was that McDonald's? Was that the Kroc brothers? Did the Kroc brothers brought out some other thing in like the West Coast and they rebranded it as McDonald's? Do you remember that? I need to research this. Yeah, I'm speaking off the top of my head. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. I am not the authority on anything. You know, you can bash me in the comments. I gotta fill, I'm like a radio station. I gotta fill the airspace, so I gotta talk about stuff, and I'm doing it without notes or research. So it just stream of consciousness, whatever pops in my head. Most of us, including me, we all make mistakes, gaffes all the time. You don't realize it because you're not recording your conversation every day like I am, which is not recommended. Trust me. Don't do what I do. This is the wrong way to do it because this will all be used against me someday in court. Here's the Fourth Presbyterian Church. Here's the John Hancock, 875 North Michigan. Hey, Michigan Avenue. Thanks for tuning in here. Hey, 300 people tuning in on YouTube. That's great. Here's the Christmas tree in front of the John Hancock. See, here's Benny Hanna's. Say hello to Steve Aoki's dad. There's hey, the Christmas. Hey, she's taking a picture there. Look at that. Yeah, get the nice shot of the tree. So Michigan Avenue, go past Water Tower Place. Yeah, look at the X's there. X marks the spot. Here's the observation deck on the 94th. 400 Lee Street, Des Plaines. Ray Kroc's first franchise. Thanks, James. So good. I learned something. So good. The first McDonald's was 400 Lee Street, Des Plaines. Thanks for the good information. So the first McDonald's was Des Plaines. The corporate headquarters used to be in Oak Brook. They moved it to Chicago. So it was at least it was the Chicago suburbs. Thanks for correcting me. I appreciate it. Thanks for the good info and thanks for looking it up. See, we fact checked in real time. We got the correction. A lot of time my mod team helps out people tuning in the chat. I know in Chicago people would help me out because a lot of people work for that organization here. So here, yeah, thanks for helping out with the time there. Thanks, Atma. Yeah, we got 7:40 in the AM Chicago here, Central Time Zone. So the most, I can attest, we talked about this earlier. The most common questions I get on a daily basis, I get asked this hundreds of times every day. What time is it? What's the temperature? Where are you at? Go to O Block. We get that over and over again. So that's what, and it not just happens to me, it happens to other Chicago live streamers too. It's just the nature of live streaming, at least from my experience. Hey, it looks like they're adding a new storefront there. So maybe Hubert or somebody knows what store's going in there. We checked out the Hotel Chocolat around the corner there, where the Ghirardelli used to be by the water tower in Chicago. There's a new French, it's called Hotel Chocolat. It's like a chocolate place. Here, Dutchie Carey, that was the wife of Harry Carey. So honorary Dutchie Carey Way. Who remembers Dutchie Carey, Harry Carey's wife? Am I right about that, or is that what they called Harry? And then I think it was his wife, right? Dutchie. Never gets old. Yeah, someone was tuning in from Russia yesterday, and they were like, "Why you just show skyscrapers?" I'm like, people like to see it. You know, I give people what they want. I know they didn't like it. I'm like, what do you want me to show? I'll do whatever you say, random person from across the world there. Yeah, tell me what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Give me good free advice. Here's the waterworks. Chicago Waterworks here, the pump house. There's the Chicago Water Tower, survived the 1871 Great Chicago Fire. It was greatly damaged. I was looking at some of the old pictures. There used to be residential buildings here, and this was called Pine Street. It wasn't as wide. They widened it in around the time of World War I. And by the 1920s, then they started building the new buildings along it. But these go back, you know, the water tower, the castle-looking thing. That fire station was built around 1899, and it looks like the water tower. Here's Chicago Avenue. There's Ralph Lauren. Reminds you of home. That's good, dude. Ireland's tuning in. That's good. Yeah, we live in dangerous times. Well, just think of the people that went through World War II. Think of the people that went through World War I. Think of the people that went through the Great Famine in Russia or China in the 20th century. Ukraine, there was a horrible famine in the 1930s. You know, the world's a dangerous place. That's why we got to enjoy brief moments of peace and calm. I know crime's bad, but it's still not a war. It's a war on crime. A war on drugs. How about a war on war? Yeah, so much history in this city, I agree. Neiman Marcus. Yeah, we like talking about history, how neighborhoods change over time. Cultural stuff. Architecture. There's Superior Street. There's the one Chicago Tower. Gino's East is over that way. You get your Chicago style pizza. There's also Giordano's and Rosebud the other way. How far is Chicago from New York? Let's see. It's about, what, 500 miles? How far is Chicago from New York? 500 miles. It's about a 2-hour flight. If you from gate to gate, it's about 2 hours flight. You can drive it in a day, but it would be like a 16-hour day, and it depends on traffic. Most of it's tollways. If you take the Amtrak You could take the Lakeshore Limited, but it takes like a day and a half, almost 24 hours to do it. I've done it before. I've taken the Amtrak overnight. I got a sleeper car on the Amtrak from Chicago to New York. You go through Buffalo and Albany. You go down the Hudson, so you kind of go further north and go down the Hudson on the Amtrak. You go past West Point. It's a beautiful, once you get to the Hudson Valley, it's one of the most beautiful scenic Amtrak routes besides the Coast Starlight, or the one go through the Zephyr through the mountains and the Rocky Mountains, or the Empire Builder that goes through the Rocky Mountains. But on the East Coast, it's a beautiful, and you end up right in Penn Station, and you can just walk out in Manhattan. It's great. But I'd recommend getting a sleeper car if you do it from Chicago. I did it like when I was younger. I did it with just a regular chair, and you get tired of sleeping in that chair. And then some guy got on in Sandusky, and he was drunk. And I was so happy, like no one was sitting next to me. I had like a whole side to myself, and then there was no other empty seats. So he's all drunk and stinky, and he sits right next to me. And since he's drunk and stinky, he wakes everybody up on the train by talking loudly to me. And then he tells the whole train that he has hepatitis. And I'm like, yeah, you know, and there I am trapped sitting next to him. I'm like, I'm gonna make sure I don't use the restroom after you. But then he found out I was going to New York. And I was still drinking at that time. That's how long ago this was, 20 years. And he kept seeing me in the bar car drinking. He would sit next to me and we'd drink while we were trying to get to New York. And so when we got off the train, he wanted me to go to New Jersey with him. I felt like I was in a Sopranos episode. He wanted to we go to the Bada Bing with me in New Jersey. So as soon as I got off the train, I made a beeline and lost him in Penn Station, and I never saw him again. It was my Amtrak friend there from Sandusky with hepatitis. I wish him the best. But here's the Starbucks. I got many Amtrak stories like that. When you spend time on an Amtrak train, you meet some crazy characters, and I admit I'm one of those crazy characters. There's other people talking about me. They're like, we met this weird guy on the Amtrak, and it's me. Here, we'll cross. Here's the giant Starbucks. This is Erie and Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We got 18 degrees, 7:47 in the AM. We're heading to work here, Michigan Avenue. Negative 10 Celsius. Malvin's tuning in, yeah. Norway. Oh yeah, they serve alcohol on the trains in Canada and the United States. Yeah, VIA Rail, that's it. Canada has one that goes all the way across the country there. I like taking the trains. I think Canadian National has a Christmas train where they decorate it, that drives all over. Metra has a Christmas train. Of course, we saw the holiday train for the CTA. They decorated for the holidays. Yeah, Detroit's tuning in. You wire the Amtrak cars. Hey, that's great, Michael. That's awesome. And I don't know if Starbucks is still popular. We walked by it last night. The unions were striking. The unions had some pro-union activity. We noticed on Wabash early in the week there was some pro-union activity in front of the Starbucks. So I don't know if it's popular with the people that work there. It's like saying, is Amazon popular? You know, I don't think Amazon's really popular, but it doesn't mean it's not profitable. There's a lot of companies that aren't there's a lot of companies that aren't popular that are very profitable, at least for their shareholders, but not for their customers. It has to be if they got customers, you know. I don't pay for Starbucks, but that's me. I don't even pay for Dunkin' Donuts. Here's Michigan Avenue in front of the North Face here. Oh, did North Face move? North Face moved. Opening winter 2026. Oh, so yeah, North Face was. I know this. North Face was in the John Hancock, and it's moving down here. But it's North Face is still currently open in the John Hancock. We walked by it earlier. They're just going to open a new store further south here, where the Colores Mexicanos used to be. Yeah, Chicago, Grandma's Corner. See. So that's the 20th time we've been asked what city this is. This is good. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Ohio Street and Michigan Avenue. Thanks for tuning in to Chicago. We're heading to work. Thanks, Grandma's Corner, and everybody else for helping out with questions I missed there. Here's the Aritzia. Yeah, unions. Thanks for double tapping there. Used to commute every day, yeah. Philadelphia. See, look, people are giving me recommendations where to go. No matter where I go, someone asks me to go somewhere else. Yeah. What is that? Is that a perceived dangerous neighborhood, or is that a perceived wealthy neighborhood? I gotta look up my Philadelphia. I know like the nice squares downtown Philadelphia, the pin statue on top of the city hall there, all those steps where Rocky went up. But if you go further west side of Philadelphia, that's where Will Smith grew up, right? West of Philadelphia, born and raised. And you go up the main line there. Some of the train stations on the red line, like Berwyn and Bryn Mawr, are named after the main line stops in Philadelphia. Isn't that interesting? Because the developer, I think, came from Philadelphia. Drexel came from Philadelphia, so Chicago has an avenue on the south side called Drexel Avenue. We filmed from there. They actually have a statue to Drexel on Drexel Boulevard right near Washington Park. We filmed that as well. I got a rerun. I can send it to you. Drexel never came to Chicago. He was a Philadelphia real estate developer, like the New York real estate developers that made a fortune off of selling Chicago real estate. And they named us. He put in the covenants because I'll sell off all this land on the south side, and you'll name a street, a boulevard after me, and there'll be a boulevard with parks, and that's Drexel Boulevard. So they made a statue to him, and it's rusting away. No one knows who he is anymore. Yeah, 50th Street, Drexel. Yeah, you got it. That's right where it's at. We got a rerun. Thanks for the good information there. Yeah, right near what, Kenwood? Kenwood. Yeah, there's the Rainbow Push Coalition headquarters there at the old Jewish synagogue. Yeah, and there's that mansion there on Drexel. There's that, I forget what it's called. It's a chateau-esque. It looks like a castle. But here's Michael Jordan's steakhouse here. That's in the Intercontinental Hotel. It used to be on LaSalle. Now it's on Michigan Avenue. Yeah, we saw this one-eyed thing in the Thanksgiving parade. It was a balloon that went under the L tracks. Here we'll cross Illinois Street at Michigan, 752. 12th Street. There, Manny's. Yeah, go to Manny's. Manny's. Yeah, I got a rerun on Manny's. It's a Jewish delicatessen there on the South Loop, kind of going towards the lower west side. It's not quite to Maxwell Street, but going that way. Yeah, go to Manny's on 12th Street there. What is it, Jefferson or Des Plaines, or one of those streets down there? That's near where the Chicago fire started too. There's a fire academy down there. But hey, we're by the Tribune building. There's the Tribune. Am I zoomed down all the way? There we go. There's the Tribune building. Daniel Hale still got some snow. So I'm gonna head to work. We'll be on noon to 1. I'll do my lunchtime walk. We'll probably just do ice skating in Millennium Park there, and we'll do over to the Christ Kindle. I saw Jose was streaming there yesterday. He was at the Christ Kindle. It wasn't a line. There won't be a line today. It's not that warm Thursday. But in the weekends, the line, somebody filmed the line wrapped all the way around the block, went all the way around the Daily Center. They're like, screw this. I'm like, yeah, it's not worth waiting in an hour line in the cold to just buy ornaments. I saw some people posted some good videos of stuff they bought there. Eagles. Yeah. I said -10. I said -10 Celsius. Man, everybody just wants me to correct me all the time. -10 Celsius. It's approximately, I don't know my Celsius. I'm an American. I know Fahrenheit. We're 18 degrees Fahrenheit, which is below 0 Celsius. I said -10. You might not have heard me say -10. I thought I said 10 Celsius. Yeah, 10 Celsius is like 50-some degrees. You're right. I think 20 is like 68 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what the conversion is. Here's the Wrigley building. Hey, there's the tree over there. I feel like my entire life's become, like, remember when you were in grammar school and like the teacher would leave the room, or there would be like the teacher's pet. They'd be like, you know, you're the teacher's pet, you get to be the teacher while the teacher uses the restroom. Or like the teacher's writing something on the chalkboard and the teacher spells potato like Dan Quayle and spells it wrong. And then the one kid in the smarty pants, I used to be this kid, teacher, you spelled it wrong. That's what it is. You know, if I say anything wrong, everybody's like, you know, you said it wrong. I'm like, okay, thank you. I need all the help I can get. Sometimes I do say stuff wrong. I'm an old man. I do gaffes a minute. I'm like Biden. I'm a gaff a minute. At least, thankfully, we have a young, vigorous president that doesn't fall asleep in cabinet meetings anymore, right? Right? Current president never falls asleep in cabinet meetings. He works 24 hours around the clock. He's more busy than Mao Zedong there. Yeah, floating down the Yellow River there when he's 90 years old. Strongest man in the world. There he is. Wow, they built a tower after him. Look at that, Trump Tower. There's the Wrigley Building. Did anybody know there was a tower in Chicago with Trump on it? I did not know that. Wow, that's amazing. When did they do that? Here's the DeSable Michigan Avenue Bridge. There's the London House. Hey, we'll show the river here. Here's the Genie Gang, St. Regis. Yeah, look at that. That's where we just came from there. But hey, we never saw the sun this entire time. Cloudy. -6 in Oaklawn. Wow, it's -6 in Oaklawn? No way. Is it really that cold? I didn't know it was that much temperature difference. Wow. But yeah, that is if it is, yeah, I agree with you. It's good there. Oregon, how you doing there? Oh, you did security for Transformer Women too. Yeah, you remember they tore up that whole circle there. It made it look like they tore down a lot of these buildings. And if you watch the Transformers where they destroyed Chicago, they destroyed the Jewelers Building. They you know, Bumblebee was up there, and they had flames, and people were people. Yeah, fuck Trump. People, I agree. Fuck Trump. I agree. He thought I was a Trump. You think I'm a Trump supporter? I hate Trump. I was filming the Trump Tower, and somebody whispered in my ear, "Fuck Trump." They assumed I was a Trump supporter because I was filming the Trump Tower. Isn't that interesting? That shows you how everybody just stereotypes people. I get stereotyped as a Trump supporter all the time just because I'm a white old man. People assume there's no way I would not be a Trump supporter because I'm a white old man. But that's not the case. I literally was filming the Trump building, and a fellow Chicagoan walked by and angrily said, "Fuck Trump" in my ear really loud. Hopefully you heard that. And I'm like, "Yeah, I agree." And he was like, "What? What?" He probably thought I was a January 6er. People think I'm ICE just because I film. No wonder I'm all neurotic. But there's the Trump Tower, second tallest building in Chicago. There's the London House. Yeah, maybe it was for my audience. You're right. Maybe he knew who I was, and he was doing it for my audience, and he wanted to make sure, just like a comment. See, I have to be careful on my end too. Sometimes I imply motives, which it comes from my brain. It shows you how confirmation bias, where we assume with limited information. I have no idea what the person's intent was. Oh, there, Starbucks on strike. How you doing? Thank you.
Please don't shop at Starbucks.
Okay. I don't like Starbucks either. That's why I'm a Brian Really Chicago. I'm glad you guys are out here. That's great. Appreciate it. That's good. That's good. So I don't want to expose their identity there. I think they didn't want me to film them, so that's okay. So yeah, see, we're noticing there's a lot of workers on strike for Starbucks, and they don't know if they can trust me or not because I'm wearing a blue coat, and they might think I'm filming them for Jeff Bezos, trying to expose their identity. The guy kind of turned his head, so I'm not gonna. We talked to some people that actually engaged with me yesterday. There were some people, we walked by the giant Starbucks off Michigan Avenue, and they actually saw me walking by. They wanted to talk to me, so I filmed them briefly yesterday. But those guys, I was already past them. I didn't realize they were there. And I didn't know if they wanted me to cover their strike or not, and it seemed like they didn't want me to film them, so I kept on moving there. Now I'm in a public street. I don't want to. They're taking a lot of risks there, striking in front of their employer. So here, we'll cross here. We're at Water Street, Michigan Avenue. So I'm going to head to work here. Thanks to my mod team. Thanks to everybody else for tuning in. Yeah, I'm sure that maybe that person, thank you for setting me straight. That person probably was just doing that for the audience there, and they didn't assume I was a Trump supporter. I have a phobia about that because many times I've gone to, even within Chicago, I've been like in an elevator with like other white people, and if there was, they've said things to me that I'm like, if there was non-white people in this elevator, you would not say that, and it gives me the willies. It creeps me out. I'm like, there are racist white people, and I'm trying not to be one of them, you know. And I know racist is overused. Not all white people are racist. Even people that try not to be racist like me can say racist things because it's embedded in our culture, and I benefit from it, and I don't want to, but that's the world we live in. Just like male privilege, you know, and patriarchy. But hey, have a great day. Thanks everybody for tuning in. There's Hazel Johnson, environmental justice in the city, Mr. Super A. That's on the Prudential Building. Have a great day, everybody. Seize the day. We'll talk to you later. We'll see you at lunchtime there, noon to 1. Thanks for the gifts, likes, and follows, and we'll see you later there. Have a great day. Yeah, it's awkward. All right, talk to you later. Rick loves Trump. There you go. Very nice. All right, talk to you later.